Hey, what's up, guys? Testing the internet out here in Afghanistan. When I left, it wasn't working too well, but I was mainly doing recorded videos. I was mainly doing recorded videos. I am back in Kabul. I'm gonna probably try to start live here in the beginning. Um, I wanted to go over something. If you guys saw the title of the video, I think it's a very interesting situation if you check out the Brett Maher signing. It's very, very unique situation, which I actually mentioned in a video a long time ago, and it's always been a theory of mine. As you guys know, the Cowboys used to have Danny White do the punting, and that really helped out in situations when Danny White was healthy. I mean, that was our quarterback. Uh, I wouldn't really want to see your starting quarterback punting or kicking field goals because there's more of a liability of and a possibility of him getting injured. Look at the stats for the preseason. Brett Maher had 17 punts. They and he, I noticed during the preseason games as I've been watching, most of the time during the punts they're really not paying much attention. They uh, they're talking about other parts of the game. They're not mentioning the punter's name. I did not realize till I looked at the stats that Mayer had 17 punts. He pinned 6 of those punts inside the 20, and he only had one touchback. What that means is in those positions where he's capable of pinning the team back in the 20, he's pinning the team back in the 20, and he's making 50-yard field goals. We could cover 2 roster spots with this guy, and I know they're not going to do that straight off the bat. You would never, okay, get rid of the punter, get rid of the kicker. We've got a two-headed monster here. Let's play him. As you guys know, back in the day, a lot of players played both ways, offense and defense. Now, men were a little tougher uh, back then, I think. But anyways, hold on, let me see. Hey guys, I'm doing. Let me switch to the. Well, let me play the video real quick, guys. Then I'll jump over and yeah, a punter hybrid, dude. He had 17 punts. He averaged the same distance as Jones has over the last season. He still averaged 45 yards a punt. The guy's averaging 45 yards a punt. He only had one touchback. He had 6 pins inside the. But we didn't notice that he was punting so much during the season because during the preseason, they're talking about roster spots. They're talking about cuts. They're talking about who's going to make the team, why we have 4 running backs, and all these things. So us being able to possibly, even if Jones gets hurt and we bring him in as a backup punter, at least you're not struggling to find a backup punter. So the intent may not be to use this two-headed monster, use him as a punter and a kicker, but his statistics are there, dude. He's a very, very good punter. He's just as good a punter as he is a field goal kicker. So if he can get the field goal kicking down, you use him as our field goal kicker. If he does, it looks like he's done great so far. He missed only one field goal in preseason. That was a plus 50 yarder. And we'll go over the stats real quick. Matter of fact, here let me switch to this situation here. This is the San Francisco game. He pins the ball. This is actually the only punt that was a touchback. But on this play here, you're going to see he punts the ball. The Cowboys actually pin it inside at the 2-yard line, but there's a penalty. They move it back 5 yards or 10 yards. I can't remember what the penalty is, and then he has to re-kick, and again he pins it inside the 5. But the defender, one of our guys that was doing that was covering the punt, our punt coverage team kind of misplays it. So let me go ahead and play it for you. You guys will see the ability of Brett Maher to make these punts, pin inside the 20, as well as he averages 45 yards a punt right now, which is the same thing Chris Jones is. Jones, the normal punter, Jones is averaging. Something that is so important to the people of this franchise. Now the volume I'll probably cut down, but look this up. Boom, pins it right inside the 2. Okay. So he pins the ball inside the 2. Perfect punt. plus he kicks field goals, plus he averages 45 yards a punt. And this is not a position where you have a lot of injuries, you know. As long as you can keep him from having to make tackles. Now I'm gonna cut the sound off because they're doing nothing but talking about San Francisco funding some things in the city, and for us, this right here is a very important play. The commentary right now is something really would be very interesting to hear. But what happened is there was some kind of illegal touch on the ball. Also, I think it was a holding or something like illegal formation. I'm sorry. It was an illegal formation on the punt. So now what we run into is he's going to repunt it. I'm going to slide forward here. Actually, I'm going to let it play. But this really would give us an amazing opportunity to carry another linebacker, to carry another safety, to carry another offensive lineman. So what he's doing now, he's telling there was an illegal touch by the defense. There also was an illegal formation by the defense, so we're going to repunt. But the guy averages 45 yards a punt. That's with 17 punts. Yeah, that's a pretty good span of work over the 4 games. That's about four punts per game. So he got a good amount of work in, and as you guys can see, he did very well kicking the football. Kickers are very easy to evaluate. You can evaluate them in practice. The only thing you cannot evaluate is their ability to kick under pressure. So this could be a very important situation for us. Basically, it would make us, basically it would be almost like we have a 54-man roster, because instead of carrying a punter and a kicker, we just carry this guy, or at least we use him as a backup punter in case Jones gets injured. So, anyways, here's the second punt, guys. You guys will see he pins this one down inside the end zone or inside the 20 as well. But the guys covering the punt kind of make it's not the best coverage. And of course your coverage matters. That's what helps you pin the ball down inside the 20 as well. But that's where players like Kayvon Frazier, Jeff Heath, and Jordan Lewis, look at this, just barely misses. This is the only punt that he had that went into the end zone this year that was ruled as a touchback. He would have, if that play would have been just a yard short, he would have had 7 out of 7 punts inside the 20, with no touchbacks. That's an amazing, outstanding percentage if you look at kickers around the league. I know you guys think that's not important, but man, it saves you money in one position, and it frees up money that you could use on a safety. It frees up money you could use on an offensive lineman. So I wanted to get that out real quick. Let me jump over to the chat. Before I jump over to the chat, let me get in here and show the stats also. Here real quick is the stats on Brett Maher. Don't know if you guys can see that. I might have to turn but Brett Maher, he had 3 attempts, field goals from the 40 to the 49. He made all 3 of those. He had 2 attempts from plus 50, and he made 1. So he was 4 of 5 for the season, and the only field goal he missed was a plus 50. And as you guys know, he made the 57-yarder. So Dan Bailey's best, I think, is 54 or 55. He doesn't have the same leg, actually. Very accurate, a great kicker. I know some people are not going to buy into this right away, but the Cowboys had a really good chance to evaluate these guys in practice. And with Dan Bailey's injury, he had the lower back injury, he had the hamstring injury, the groin injury. This is a place that really will help us on roster position as well as cap money. This guy's not going to take near the money that Dan Bailey would as being one of the lead kickers. If this guy can come in and kick the ball well, I know how important a kicker is. I think they're very important, and I would have no problem drafting a kicker in the first round if he was that damn out. That the kicker from Florida that went in the second round a while back, I was kind of surprised he dropped that far, and then come to find out the guy didn't work out. But what's more important, guys, check out the stats, the second line, and if you go to Google and you just type in Dallas Cowboys stats, this is the first line that pops up, and it gives all the stats on our receivers It'll show you the stats that Rico gathers is basically leading the team in receptions. Also, he's doing very well in yards per catch. So this is a page I use quite a bit just to pull stats off real quick. But when I went to this page and saw that he had 17 punts, he averaged 44.8 yards per punt. Chris Jones averaged 45. So there's no distinction there. zero point 0.2 yards is the difference in their punting, and he had 17 punts. He had a good amount of work. Um, Inside the 20, he he had he had 6 balls down to inside the 20. So he pinned 6 balls inside the 20, and he only had one touchback. And as you guys see, that was the touchback he just had. That was really due to a penalty. If it wasn't for the penalty, they would have pinned him on the 2. And then on the next kick, he almost pinned it again inside the 2-yard line. So this guy really has ability to help us on the roster spots if he can kick that damn field goal. He has to be consistent because you guys know I've talked about field goal kickers, how important they are, especially now with the extra point being, not 100% anymore like it used to be. And Chris Jones was 100%. Not Chris Jones. Dan Bailey was 100%. But as far as this punting situation, a punter is not near as important to your roster as your field goal kicker. A punter can get you in a bad situation, but I mean, a holding penalty can get you in a bad situation. To me, having a horrible punter is like getting 3 extra holding penalties a game or something. I mean, he might cost you 20 or 30 yards a game if you have 5 or 6 punts or 4 or 5 punts a game, but it's a different situation. So this move to bring in Brett Maher, who can be the backup punter and possibly one day cover both positions, might really be a good situation for us to save cap money that we could use instead of paying a punter and a kicker. You combine that money, pay him a decent salary, but you can roll that money into another player. And it gives you a roster spot, especially for injuries and special teams and stuff like that. And your special players that you want to keep, like Rico gathers, like not a Darius Jackson, Deontay Thompson, or one of these guys, Tavon Austin. Of course, we're going to keep Tavon Austin. That's a slightly different situation, but your specialty players are what we're trying to cover. So let me switch over now to, I want to switch to my chat box so I can see what's going on there. I just wanted to get that information out real quick because I thought that was, I just looked at that. I was watching the San Francisco game, and I'm watching the San Francisco game, and I hear a mention Brett Maher for the punt. I'm like, he's punting for us? I didn't even, it didn't even register because most of the time in the preseason, I know we've got a good punter. I know we've got a good kicker. I really didn't pay attention to who was kicking the ball, I didn't pay any attention. So let me go through the chat box real quick and see what we got. I saw a video of Mayer kicking 67. Yeah, they say in practice. Hey, what's up, Gibbs? How you doing, bro? They said in practice a dude was kicking 60-yarders, 63, 65-yarders. He's got a stronger leg. That's the most definite. He's got a stronger leg. We got a Dan Bailey fan out there gave me a thumbs down, I think, or maybe an Eagles fan. If you guys saw my video as I did earlier today, I apologize. I wasn't trying to. I was more like trying to make a joke, but I was trying to be quiet because there was a lot of people sleeping on the plane. But there was some kids on the plane. There was a couple of them, and when I started the camera, for some reason they kind of got quiet. But there was a couple kids, one in the front, one in the back, just screaming, and I thought it was funny. I kind of thought about it, and so I made a funny, joke type video, and they actually weren't even screaming until the second video, but it was funny to me. But anyways, I wanted to jump on the chat box real quick. Jeffrey Carson, who that is. Nick Foles, what happened? I'm not sure anything about Nick Foles, guys. I just woke up. I've been asleep, but I was watching the Cowboys game there. Hey, Aunt Daisy, how you doing? How you doing, Aunt Daisy? All right. Yes, I made it to Kabul. Oh, Cowgirl Crunk. Oh, I miss you so much already. I'm sorry, guys. That's my wife. You guys know a little bit concerning situation. I worked in Afghanistan, so I wanted to jump back through here. I saw a video of Maher kicking 67-yard field goals. Yeah, he looks like he can. Crump, do you think the Cowboys put Bo Scarborough on the 53-man roster so no one can? There's a possibility, and I know Scarborough was one of the guys that they didn't want to put on the roster. They wanted to give him more of a chance, and that's why they'll take a guy like that, put him on the practice squad. He's really young. He hasn't really got a full opportunity to make the team. So what they do is, you have to put him on the practice squad or lose a draft pick, and they did use a draft pick on him. So that's my teammate. That's my punter. Yeah, I know, man. I feel you, bro. But losing Dan Bailey, no one was happy about. And I didn't even catch it. Like I said, I was watching the San Francisco game, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Maher was punting. So I pull up the stats. I was like, how many times did he punt? And he punted 17 times. He averages 40. And Chris Jones' stat line is right there with him, and there's no difference. So I know they do that in the Canadian League. It was something I mentioned before. It really would save us a roster spot. They juggle these guys around, especially with injuries. Get your popcorn. Yeah, guys, get your popcorn. We're gonna talk some Cowboys trash. If any trollers are on here, welcome to the Cowboys channel. We like to talk football. Is football. So X Factor, what's up, guys? Hey, I want to say thank you guys for following and subscribing. And I've had such a good time. This is my first video from Afghanistan since I've been back. I do have some older videos from before the vacation started, but back then I only had like 100 viewers. So if you guys haven't seen some of the older videos, this is kind of the format I do. I do want to take this off now that I've caught up on the videos and go back to the football game. Well, I can't do that actually because that screen has been closed, but I'll keep up with the chats here. Normally I open 3 computers and I'm trying to check the internet, make sure, does the live stream video look okay, guys? I want to make sure the internet here is not quite like at home. So I want to make sure that the live stream's working okay. Then Nick Folk for Bucks missed 5 field goals for Bucks that could have one game for them. Yeah, dude, kickers are really important, and for them to make this move, they really have to trust this guy. I don't think it's about the punting. I really think it is about the field goal kicking. Man, this Gibbs is a good question, bro. This Sunday, I have no clue what the hell's going to happen, and that is a little scary. And the reason I feel that way is because Ezekiel Elliott hasn't played much. The line, we've tried to spread the time out on the backup linemen, and we're doing that because we're basically doing that because we don't want to get our linemen hurt. Ezekiel Elliott, they don't want to get him hurt. Dak hasn't played much. They don't want to get him hurt. So it's our offense, I think, is going to really stutter and sputter at first. And it depends on how beast mode we come out. If that offensive line comes out and plays like they're capable of playing, it takes a little continuity to get your running back and your takes a little continuity to get your running back and your offensive line on the same page, and it takes some continuity to get your receivers and your quarterback on the same page. So I'm a little worried about our offense. You just hope Brett Maher isn't Robert Ovgaro, former Bucks kicker. Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about earlier in the draft when I was talking about that kicker. I had no problem drafting the guy where they drafted him. I thought he would go a little earlier than that. He did fall out. I think it was more mental, and this could be the same thing. This guy hasn't kicked in the NFL. He's been kicking up in Canada, and apparently he's done a good job up there. But kicking is very mental, and Jerry Jones got rid of a kicker once, and I can't recall the name, but the kicker went to him, and Jerry Jones said, "Hey, what's going on?" Not Jerry Jones. I said, sorry, Jimmy Johnson. One of the kickers, when Jimmy Johnson was the coach, went to Jimmy Johnson, and this was for the Cowboys. He said, "I've just lost my confidence." The next day, Jimmy Jones had a new kicker in there, and Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Jones, man, Jimmy Jones, Jimmy John's, the sandwich shop. Anyways, Jimmy Johnson had a new kicker in there the next day because uh, the kicker just told him, "I've lost confidence." So these things can happen. Chris Richard, stay pump up the, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm hoping. He comes in and changes the coaching scheme, the way they do things, and I hope that happens because of Chris Richard and his ability to get on some of these guys. That's what Troy Aikman was missing his last few years, and that's why he retired early. He was tired of being the coach for the team because Barry Switzer just wasn't performing. He didn't feel the need to yell at anyone or get in anyone's ass or anything like that. So anyways, that's my perception on this kicking thing. I think they may be looking to save some cap. They think they might have a kicker. Dan Bailey was dropping off. He had some injuries. He did miss some kicks in practice. And they said this guy's coming in, nailing it in practice. I'm hoping, D-Will, I'm hoping he has D-Will, I appreciate you. D-Will is one of the first subscribers, guys, out there, and I appreciate you guys hanging in. And if you hit the notification button also, when I start a live video, it will pop up so you guys can get there in the first minute or two. Once I get a few more subscribers, I will start holding the video maybe for 20-30 seconds in the beginning, just so I can wait for you guys to get on so you don't have to go back and watch it or whatever. I wonder what Cowboys will do with the $19 million in cap space. Also, did you find Mark Holmes and Cowboy Joe Boo? Yeah, I found their page. I just been traveling the last few days, so I haven't got a chance to go back up there and look at that yet. Lunch break is over. See you, Crump. Hey, take care, Ryan. Enjoyed the lunch. Thanks, bro. Hope everything's going good. I'll try to do a lunchtime show for you guys that are on lunchtime because this is actually a good time for me. So I appreciate you letting me know it's lunchtime back there in the States. That's a good note for me to make. And yeah, I hope everything works out fine with this kicking thing. Let's hope he doesn't have mental issues when he gets up there and he has 100,000 people and he has if you're going to be a kicker with stress on you, the most stress you can probably have placed on you is kicking for the Dallas Cowboys because your games are getting watched worldwide. I can tell you almost every game here for the Cowboys is watched overseas by AFN. They really show a lot of Cowboys fans. Cowboys need this week 1 win against the Panthers. Yeah, let me go back to that. I'm sorry. Week 1 win is going to be important. It's going to get us on the right foot. As you guys know, we've had so many changes. That's another thing. And see, here's Maher again. I think he just kicked a field goal, or maybe that's the one he missed possibly. I want to go back, but anyways, the statistics are there. There's a couple videos out now. If you research the guy, there's a couple videos out of his kicking potential and him kicking in practice, and they actually showed his practices where he's practicing there with. And as you guys know, he used to be on the Cowboys team back in the day. He was on the practice squad for a while. Crunk, have you checked on the fan Hurricane Gordon is coming to the Gulf Coast? No, I haven't, bro. I just was watching. There's a typhoon, which is the same thing as a hurricane, but it's on the opposite hemisphere. Is in Japan. I just saw that on the news. I had no clue there was a hurricane coming. I am down in Houston. We're usually relatively pretty safe there unless it's a huge one. I've got a generator, automatic generator that kicks on at the house and all that, so hopefully I'll be fine. I might have 20 people. I might have 20 people living in the house. I might have neighbors from all over the world coming or all over the Gulf Coast to hang out and enjoy the electricity and the air conditioning. But if that happens, then we'll be there. I will check into things, guys. I had no clue. My wife will let me know though if she feels any kind of danger or anything like that. But I think our secondary is going to play good. We're going to have to. This Christian McCaffrey guy, dude, I think we're going to shut him down. I really like him as a player. I think our linebackers are too quick. I think our defensive line, them hot boys, Uh, hey, I'm hot on the Hot Boys. I don't know. I didn't like the name at first, but all of a sudden it started it started sticking. It started growing, and it's simple and it's you know it's something that they're going to be saying. Um, it's something that defensive line, which did not really play well as far as sacks. You guys, I think we had 2 sacks in the whole preseason. But I know we didn't have our starters out there. Jalen Smith, 98 tax. That would be nice, bro. How do you shut down Panthers? Is stopping Super Cam? Yeah, Super Cam, then McAfee and DJ Moore. Yeah, we got to limit those guys. I think we put Chidobe Awuzie on him. Have him. That's the good thing. I think we're pretty solid on both sides of the corner. As these guys will play out, we can decide: do they play better on a certain side, you know, or do we keep them in position? Um, and or do we or yeah, that's what we got to decide. Do we put Awuzie on DJ Moore, or do we just leave them in their spot and let them run with it? I mean, I think they're pretty. I think Byron Jones is just as well. Plays the not safety, plays the corner almost as well as Awuzie. So it might be better to put him in a position, and your tendency to run, and you have to look back at the quarterback, and you know you build tendencies. I can run better looking over my left shoulder. I just get a better feel that way. If you're like a left-handed corner or right-handed corner, those things do make a slight difference. And if you can get a guy to really learn the left side and get a guy to really learn the right side, and you got 2 solid corners, you're going to have to throw the ball between the hashes, because you're not going to get anything outside the hashes with 2 good corners that can. Now, if you have one really strong corner, and I do think Awuzie is a little stronger corner, you put him. You can have him shadow DJ Moore wherever he goes. So it's just a different option, a different way to look at things. But it we'll have to see. That'll play out as the season goes, I think. But I'm more concerned about our offense and what's going to happen with these guys because they haven't been on the field. Herbie sure is, but the way you can stop Newton is from running the ball. He is not that. Yeah, if we can keep the ball and if we can have 35, 36, 37 minutes of time of possession, and we can move the ball down. Sean Lee and Jalen Smith, they're gonna be tracking McCaffrey. I think we'll be okay, guys. I don't know. When I start talking about it, I feel like we'll be okay. But I am a little nervous because this is our first game. If you look at other teams, most of the other teams played quite a bit more of their starters. They had a lot more snaps than we did. So yeah, Cowboys more one. Worried about the offense. Yeah, I think our defense got a lot more snaps, especially our secondary. Our secondary played quite a bit of football, and I know it's because they're young. And I'm glad we didn't have, it looks like Chidobe Awuzie and Lewis played enough snaps to take them into the regular season where they can hit the field running, and hopefully we won't have any issues like we had last year. Because we didn't see these guys really full strength until like game 11 or 12, and the last 5 games our defense played lights out. Only one game did we give up over 20 points. We really played outstanding, and Leighton Vander Esch, I think he's going to help our defense tremendously. He's a big guy. He didn't play much. I think they're just protecting him, and the injury he had with the groin. The groin can be pretty serious, guys. Hey, what's up, Herb? How you doing, brother? Welcome in from Tennessee. I was at the game Thanksgiving in Dallas. Oh, man, that's awesome. Came in and Kuechly dominated us that day. He is a key. Yeah, if we can get guys into the secondary to put a body on Kuechly and divert Kuechly, if we can get offensive guard, if we can get these guards to chip and release and get on Kuechly and get us into the secondary, that's going to be a big factor. Yeah, D. Will. Let's hope so. He is going to be up against. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, guys. And we've got to get those hot boys got to get in there. I don't know if you guys are cool with the name yet. It's picking up for me. I think they're going to be outstanding once we hit week 6 or 7. I think the defensive line is going to be unstoppable, especially if Irving comes back. And Jihad Ward, they were expecting him to be our David Irving possible replacement, and it didn't work out as well. And I think that possibly went that way also because I think they're starting to trust. I mean, the fact that David Irving is coming back. I haven't heard a lot on him, but we do need to check on that because if you think about it, Randy Gregory, David Irving, um, Tyrone Crawford, and Demarcus Lawrence, I don't think there's a better defensive line in the NFL. I just don't. And they got to be there, though. They got to keep from getting suspended. They got to keep from getting injured. And the same thing on the offensive line. That's a big thing on the. But the thing on defensive line, we have backups. I mean, Taco Charlton played great in preseason. He had a lot of the JJ swats they call it. He had a lot of swats. He had a lot of block passes. He was getting in there. He was causing a lot of hurries. So I really think our defense is secure. I think our defense is sound and stable. And I'm just really a little worried about the offense. But I did start this video to start talking about the kicker. And if you guys just joined in, if you look at the stats, go to Dallas. Just Google Dallas Cowboys stats, and the first line that pops up there is the page I had on here. And this is what the page looks like at the top. Here we go. And this is what it looks like at the top of the page. It's actually NFL.com, and then it has team. It's actually NFL.com, and then it has go to team statistics, and that's what I was checking out. And you can see that Maher, he's kicking the football just as good as Jones is. The punter, he's punting just as well as Jones. So this gives you a backup punter without having to put keep a guy on the roster or look for some crazy guy to come in at the last minute if your punter gets injured. And they could in the future go with a two-headed monster that can punt and kick. He's an amazing punter. It looks like now the kicking aspect of things are a little different. We'll have to see how he does. He's kicked well in practice. He's kicked well in the games. He's kicked very well. He's actually kicked better in the games in the preseason games this year than Bailey was the last year and his last 30 attempts. So over Bailey's last 30 attempts, this guy's actually doing better. And in practice, they said he was doing better as well. So that's the reason for making this move. Also, you're going to save on salary cap. We saved about $3 million, so that bumped us up to about $19 million now in cap, and we'll see what's going to happen. Not much talk on the Earl Thomas thing. I have not even checked it today. I'm tired of it. I can't believe I'm saying that because this is the situation with how football goes. Football's like a business. It's actually a very, very in-depth business, and the situation with Earl Thomas. I noticed some people jumped off their Thomas again. God dang, I'm done. Two more guys. But anyways, with the Earl Thomas situation, the way let's talk about just football. Just talk about let's talk about football just in general. Things change. 2 weeks ago I thought this was a lock, and the reason I thought it was a lock is they were signing all of these offensive players around the league, and these offensive players were getting what they asked for. They were being told, hey, we need you to show up at camp. Here's the money. And defensive players, they weren't doing that for them. Well, the whole thing changed when Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack signed their deals. When those deals were signed, Earl Thomas looked at himself in the mirror and said, why am I not getting signed? What in the hell is my deal? What is my problem? Now, the only thing I think it benefits is if Earl Thomas wants to come in and play a 1-year deal and prove it, he's going to come in and play a 1-year deal and prove it and ask for that big contract. Or he's going to hold out for a big contract so that he can show, hey, I'm worth the money too. I'm sitting back here. You guys won't give a second-round pick for me, but Khalil Mack is 2 first-round picks, and I think he's the highest paid player on defense right now. So I'm not understanding who are we depending on for safety if we don't get ET. Yeah, and that's my biggest concern as well. They have to do something at safety, but just concerning the I wonder what happens to Earl Thomas now that Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald. Yeah, that really the Cowboys really made a mistake by waiting and waiting this long, and now that money has hit the table for two other guys, and it NFL's a company around, in general it's a company. And if I see two other guys that have relatively the same jobs as me, uh, and they're making, twice what I'm making easy, and they got promoted to a different shop, and whatever the situation, I'm like, why am I not getting promoted? Why am I not getting this position? I'm a damn Pro Bowl safety. Yeah, I play my butt off. Six-time Pro Bowler, and I can't get a contract. I can't get somebody to give up a second round pick for me, but they give up two first round picks for Khalil Mack. Now it's almost like an ego thing. And you please don't tell me you don't think these guys in the NFL got egos. They got egos. And if it's not done to where it makes Earl Thomas look good now, it's not going to make Earl Thomas look good. He's not going to like that. He's not going to come to the Cowboys. He wouldn't even want to come to the Cowboys for a second round pick now. I mean, or maybe a first and I've been told that's what they're asking for, a first and a third. Charles Tapper released from practice squad. Wouldn't be surprised. Uh, I don't know if Chaz Green, I haven't even checked if Chaz Green is still on the practice squad. I know he's kind of been an anchor. That's what he actually is an anchor. Also, DeMarcus Lawrence is looking at the biggest defensive player contracts out. Yeah, so we're going to need that money to get these DeMarcus Lawrence in there if we decide to keep him. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is gone. I think this is his last year. And I think the reason is we're too deep there. If we can get, the reason I say that, if we can get David Irving in here and get him running well, if we can trust David Irving and we can trust Randy Gregory, and we got Taco Charlton, those are three guys that can play that position and play it well. We just have to be able to trust them. And they're going to be very low price. Brian Price is gone as well. That one surprises me. And just because he's been a fairly consistent lineman, I know he hasn't played great, but he's been consistent. But anyways, on the DeMarcus Lawrence thing, I think this could be his last year. I don't think they're going to want to pay him. I think they will do the right thing and cut him early, or look to trade him. And the reason I say that is he's going to want paid, and I think he deserves to get paid. But I don't think the Cowboys are, with us coming up having to pay Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott, I don't think we're in the position to be able to pay DeMarcus Lawrence and all these guys. We may be, but it depends on how big these contracts are. A big contract that matters, as you guys know, is Dak Prescott. So, yeah, so they're going to have to shuffle guys around, but I do expect if they can get Randy Gregory and Taco Charlton, David Irving, those two guys, Randy Gregory and David Irving, are really important to us because they cannot even ask for a large salary. They've been in the doghouse too much, so they're trustable. Let's see. Hold on, guys. Let me check this out. If we get Earl Thomas, it is him or DeMarcus. Yeah, that may be a situation as well. They may be looking at, you want to go long term with DeMarcus Lawrence, or we want to bring Earl Thomas in. Earl Thomas, I think, is a much cheaper aspect, and also as far as Earl Thomas goes, the guys we have behind Earl Thomas, I don't think at this point, I think they can be. I think Kayvon Frazier and Xavier Woods and Jeff Heath under Chris Richard can be very good safeties, much better than they have been. I think they were mediocre before, and I think they have the possibility of being very good, especially as a team. With Earl Thomas being there, that would actually elevate things. But you look behind DeMarcus Lawrence, and I think we're sitting pretty well behind him. David Irving averages a sack a game, almost a sack a game, which is what DeMarcus Lawrence does. But he's not there. He's only there 8 games out of the season. He was injured 4 games, and he was suspended 4. Now, Randy Gregory, if we can get him to average, a sack a game, we got 3 guys averaging a sack a game. As long as they're on the field, you're not gonna you're not gonna be able to get the ball snapped. I mean, that's just, that's 30. That's a hell of a lot of sacks, guys. So we'll see. I just wanted to get in a video on the kicker real quick. I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna watch some of Carolina preseason games, see how they stand. Especially, my biggest concern with Carolina is their defensive line. I want to see how strong their defensive line is going to start the season off. Take care, X Factor. Really appreciate all the commenting back and forth. Really helps the chat go smooth, and lets me know what you guys are looking for. You guys out there, if you enjoy the live talks, that's what I'm going to be doing. Please subscribe to the channel. Yeah, and I'm going to do some film sessions on the next film session. I'll try to do it not today, not tomorrow, but the next day, on the Carolina defensive line. And I want to see if we're going to be able to run against them, because that's going to be our key. We've got to start the run game off smooth and get the run game going, so that Dak Prescott can jump back there, feel comfortable, so that the receivers can feel comfortable. And if we can keep the holding penalties down, keep it in good situations, and just move the ball up slow, we'll be okay. But I appreciate it, guys. Take care. I love the live chats too. Take care, guys, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.